More GeoGuessr tips and tricks, and today is over Denmark and some of the obscure territories and islands of the nation. So, Denmark is a pretty identifiable country in Europe, mainly because of its language, its just general flatness, and then some other varying things such as the road line. So, let's just get into how to identify Denmark in GeoGuessr. Okay, so this is a good starting round because there is a lot of information here. So, the first thing we see is that this is very flat, super flat. And Denmark, I mean, there's some like slight elevation hills and such, but you will never see a mountain in mainland Denmark. You won't. You won't see any big hills either. Denmark and the Netherlands are very notorious for just being extremely flat. Hence why they don't they didn't survive in the Second World War very long. So we can tell it's Denmark from the flatness, but also by the bollard. This bollard is a pretty famous bollard because it's a white bollard with like a yellow trapezoid near the top, and then like a red or like a gray little tape thing at the top. It's very identifiable, and they love to spam their bollards. They do. So if you see this red at the top, you know it's Denmark. So we're right here, we instantly know it's Denmark. And then we can even tell it's Denmark by the language. The Danish language is a Northern Germanic language, and you'll see. Let's see if I can see it from here. Yeah, we have these vowels specifically here. The O with like a line through it. You can see like a weird looking A. Like I could probably find. There's like the AE little sign. I mean not sign. Letter that people who speak English don't really know right there. That's Danish and Norwegian. But specifically, if you see this language, this Nordic language, you'll know it's the Denmark. Also, these very vibrant colored signs, like these small signs, could be like a red sign, like a blue sign. At least the outer bits, that's exclusive to Denmark. And then the signs themselves, if they end with an EJ, this is the most probably infamous piece of Denmark information to know. If you ever see something that ends with EJ, you are 100% in Denmark. That's just guaranteed. So there's a lot of factors that we know we're in Denmark. And like we see it's a European plate, we see it's driving on the right. I'll get into the road a bit later on. Actually, I'll say a little bit about the road. We have the road itself, and then we have a little paths on either side. Those are bike paths you see a lot in Denmark, Netherlands, and like northern Germany. So that helps to narrow it down. And then the architecture in Denmark, you mainly have like three different types of architecture. You have like the red brick architecture in the more populated areas, especially on these islands compared to the mainland. You have this like old classical architecture that you can see a lot in like alpine areas, but then Denmark as well. Like just when you look at this house, it just looks like it was made centuries ago. And then you just have the basic architecture for like Poland, Sweden, and such. You see a lot. You can even see like Swedish and Norwegian buildings, like this red one and the white buildings. Yeah. So we know a lot of ways to identify Denmark, but then with this specific round, to actually narrow it down, first, if there's at all any hills, you're going to be on the mainland. That's pretty much a guaranteed. And then these actual signs themselves, mainly this one, we have the city name and then the road number. So Denmark's not that big, so you could just scan to try to find the 457, but in Denmark, the road numbers are actually pretty easy to know because on this island and the surrounding areas, all the highway numbers start with a 2. And then down here, they'll start with a 4. Here, they start with a 3. And then up here, they start with all the way up here, 5. And then if you see them start with a 1, then it could be anywhere in the country. So if we see 457, we know we're going to be pretty much south of Randers to down here. So then we can just... Oh, wait. This is just the city we're looking for. So we know we're on the 457, so we could easily find the 457 down here. Be somewhere around here. Probably here, actually. Actually, I don't really care to find it. But yeah, it was just there. And then we even have... And then we even have, like, the 5s and the 4s in the same spot. Which, you know you're going to be in this section. So yeah, that was a long location, but it had a lot of useful information. Okay, so instantly, it is a little bit hilly, but that... I mean, when I say a little bit, I mean a little bit. But then we know it's Denmark because it is very flat. We do have the bollards. And we even have the windmills. When you see a lot of windmills, that's very populated in Western Europe, mainly like Netherlands, a lot in Germany, and a lot in Denmark. When you see windmills in Europe, think of those countries. But they're now with the road. So we have the bollards, obviously. Double white lines. You don't always see them in Denmark, but you do see them quite a lot. Double white lines, I really only associate with Denmark, Poland, and Greece in Europe. Sometimes, like Finland or something, but mainly Denmark, Poland, and Greece. And then from this round, we can instantly tell it's not Greece because it's not like mountainous and Mediterranean. So it's between Poland and Denmark, which they are very flat. But then the windmills, the bollards would give it away. But then also the outer lines in Denmark, especially on the double white center line roads, will be like segmented like this. You could see that it's not just like a pure line like the center line is. See, that is exclusive to Denmark. If you see that, you just are in Denmark, or it's just an extremely rare occurrence in some other country. So then we instantly know it is going to be Denmark. And since it was more hilly, it was more north, which I didn't do. Okay. So here we have a yellow plate. Denmark used to have yellow plates. They don't anymore. But if you see a yellow plate, then obviously think of like the UK, France, Netherlands, Luxembourg, but also think Denmark because they have actually quite a few yellow plates. They do. Now, this specific round, we do have the red brick architecture, which you see a lot in like southern Western Europe. You see in like the UK, Germany, northern Germany, I should say, Belgium, and we have these buildings which you see also in like France, Germany, maybe even like Czechia. This round itself does feel weirdly, I mean, it feels very Danish, obviously, but it also feels more so like Germany than most other rounds. Like, these houses you don't see in Denmark very often. It is very foresty, which isn't really that much of a Danish thing. And then this specific bus stop, which bus stops are a great way to reaching us Denmark, but it's not that important compared to like reaching guessing something like Russia or something, just because Denmark is so small. This bus stop in particular, when you see a lot of like white, red, and green motifs all over it, that is almost completely exclusive to this island over here, which is Danish and does have a lot of like Western European influence, German influence, and maybe even see more yellow plates here. But yeah, when you see this specific bus stop, you know you're on this island guaranteed. And then you could even just vibe guess this island based on the German vibe, though it could also be like down here near near Holstein. So, is there any other information about this island? I mean, you'll likely see water, unless you're on like the middle. So if you think it might be that island, you can maybe narrow down where you are, and if you see water, then you know you're probably on this island. Okay, so this instantly looks completely different. Most inexperienced players would be like, okay, this is maybe like Norway, or like it's very cold, very north. That's about it. Which you're right. This isn't mainland Denmark, and if anything, it looks more like Iceland than Denmark. But there's a reason for that, because this is the Faroe Islands. Now, Faroe Islands has a Gen 3 Google car and a Gen 4 Google car. The Gen 3 one being pretty much just the Guatemala or Kyrgyzstan car. The Gen 4 one just being the white pickup truck they see in Iceland. Though in Faroe Islands, I think you see the antenna pretty much always, and in Iceland you don't. And you also don't see the iconic Iceland yellow bollards. But in the Faroe Islands, you will always see these very cold, unvegetated, green mountains, what's the word, fjords. That's pretty much the entire country. Whereas in Iceland, you'll see, obviously, like flat landscape. You could see some trees. You'll see bigger mountains. Like, you can still see fjords like this, but they wouldn't be exactly like this in green, and you wouldn't probably have a road in the middle of it. But on the Faroe Islands, that's pretty much all you see. Or you're on the coast, and it's still what you see. Okay, and then just a little, an extra little identifying thing that I couldn't find a location that include this with the other ones is the road crossing, the pedestrian crossing sign. It's 5 lines, whereas in countries like Sweden and Norway, it's 4, and you don't see 5 very often. Because specific parts of Denmark, you could definitely see being Sweden or like the United Kingdom, or like Germany. Like if you looked at this, you could be like, oh, that's like Danish or Norwegian. Could be like Oslo. Oh nope, it's Denmark. And then we have a lot of red brick. It's a very populated area, very built up area. So we're probably not on the mainland. We're probably on the island with Odense or like Copenhagen, this city, whatever. Okay, and then this should be the last thing, because this one, once again, doesn't look like Denmark, but a lot of people do know that Greenland is owned by Denmark. Now, I'm not going to go deep into Greenland for 2 reasons. One, Greenland is a country that it's not a country, first of all, but Greenland is pretty much only just a few cities on, like, the coast, including the capital of Nuuk. And I don't know Greenland very well, and there's a lot of cities. So usually when I get to Greenland, I just go Nuuk. So in Greenland, at least with Nuuk, you will see this great Google car. There might be some other places where you get this. I can't think of off the top of my head, but this will look very cold. It'll look pretty much like Iceland or the Faroe Islands, except it won't be super green. And you'll see a lot more big mountains and less fjords, at least when you're a little bit more inland. And it gives you like an Antarctica vibe, like a Northern Canada vibe, maybe some Alaska, Norway. That's just what it gives. So I can't really help you too much on Greenland, because I'm not good at Greenland myself, and I haven't gotten a Greenland round in a duel in ages. But as long as you can identify it, just go Nuuk most of the time, unless you just know it doesn't line up. Alright, that's it for the Denmark tips and tricks video. Pretty short and sweet, but Denmark's not a super crazy country to get into, but it is one that is good to know. So, that's the end of this video. Stay tuned for my next tips and tricks video next week. Well, in 2 weeks. So, that'll be the end of this video.